In a peaceful village far from the city, life took a tragic turn when a wave of unexplained deaths sent shockwaves through the community. In the center of it all was Ahmed, a humble chickpea vendor, suddenly blamed for a mystery he could never have foreseen. But as the real story came to light, the truth would reveal a lesson for everyone. Welcome to Zhee Investigates, where we explore stories that touch on human lives and the hidden truths that sometimes go unnoticed. In today's episode, we dive into a case where a village's desperation for answers tore apart lives, leaving scars that would last a lifetime. Through one man's story, we'll uncover the dangers of misinformation and the power of unity, compassion, and understanding. Our story begins in a remote village in Pakistan during the late 1990s. Life here was simple. The villagers relied on one another, following traditions passed down through generations. For Ahmed, a friendly, middle-aged chickpea vendor, the market was not just a place of business, but a place of friendships and familiar faces. With his cheerful greetings and kindness, Ahmed had become a beloved part of the community. His chickpeas were well known among locals, and for years he had faithfully served his neighbors without incident. Then suddenly a mystery struck. Villagers who seemed healthy were suddenly falling ill, and some tragically did not survive. In a village where everyone knew each other, these losses were felt deeply. The deaths weren't just a tragedy, they were a frightening mystery. And as the toll grew, the fear among villagers began to rise. Within days, whispers started circulating in the market and beyond. People began to wonder if something or someone was responsible for the sickness. At the center of this suspicion was Ahmed, the chickpea vendor, who many feared was selling poisoned food. How had a trusted friend and neighbor suddenly become the focus of such terrible blame? One fateful day, a group of villagers fell ill after buying food from Ahmed's stall. This was the breaking point. Accusations erupted, and people voiced their fears openly, convinced that Ahmed's chickpeas were behind the illness spreading through their village. His once busy stall now sat deserted, with former customers casting wary looks his way. Ahmed's life changed overnight, and his reputation was shattered. The man who had once been a trusted friend was now isolated, shunned by the people he once served. As the days passed, tensions grew. Villagers went to the local authorities, demanding action. They wanted answers, and many believed Ahmed needed to be held accountable. The authorities launched an investigation, examining Ahmed's stall and collecting samples of his chickpeas. When the test results returned, there were no signs of poison or anything harmful. But the village's fear was already deeply rooted. Even as the evidence pointed to Ahmed's innocence, the rumors persisted and the mystery remained. Meanwhile, the sickness continued. More lives were lost, and the community's desperation grew. The villagers clung to the belief that Ahmed's chickpeas were somehow to blame. To them, he represented a real and tangible source of their fear. With each passing day, Ahmed became more isolated, his once supportive community now treating him as an outsider. The situation took a new turn when a group of investigative journalists arrived in the village. The strange story of the chickpea vendor accused of mysterious deaths had caught their attention, and they came with the hope of uncovering the truth. They began by speaking with Ahmed, who shared his side of the story, expressing his heartbreak at the loss of friendships in the community he loved. The journalists also interviewed other villagers, listening to their concerns and tracing the patterns of illness. Their investigation revealed something unexpected. The village had long been suffering from a neglected water supply. Over time, the local water source had become contaminated, exposing the villagers to bacteria that could cause severe illness, particularly in those who already had weakened immune systems. This revelation changed everything. The investigation concluded that it wasn't Ahmed's chickpeas causing the deaths. It was the water many villagers depended on daily. Yet the idea of blaming a familiar face, like Ahmed, had seemed simpler for many. Sometimes, in the face of unexplained events, people search for something or someone to blame, hoping to make sense of their loss. As the news spread, the villagers were forced to confront the reality of what had happened. The stories and accusations against Ahmed had been baseless, and the very source of life, water, was in fact the silent cause behind the tragedies. For Ahmed, this was a bittersweet moment. His innocence was proven, but the damage to his life was severe. His friendships, his reputation, and his sense of community had all been deeply scarred. Some villagers came forward to apologize, expressing their regret for the harm caused. Slowly, they reached out, helping Ahmed rebuild his life and business. But it was not an easy road. For many, the lesson left behind was that fear and blame, when unchecked, can destroy lives. In the face of the unknown, turning on each other often creates more harm than good. The story of Ahmed, the innocent chickpea vendor, is a powerful reminder of the dangers of rushing to judgment without evidence. When fear leads to blame, it's often the innocent who suffer most. This case shows us that even in close-knit communities, misinformation can spread, turning neighbors into strangers and friends into enemies. As we reflect on this story, let's remember the importance of approaching situations with patience, understanding, and a commitment to the truth. In a world where rumors can quickly become reality, it's up to each of us to ensure that fairness and compassion guide our actions. Thank you for watching Zhee Investigates. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that explore the hidden truths and lessons that shape our world. Together, let's learn to value justice, understanding, and community, even in the most challenging times.